artists. So today we're going to be talking about how to take your final plan and then get it traced backwards, like get it drawn backwards for printing and then get it traced on your printing plate. In the next video, we'll be learning how to ink. So let's get started. All right, so remember with my experiment, I showed that I can draw my initials backwards and then I printed with markers and my little styrofoam plate. I need all this evidence. And then what I did was I made a plan of a theme. Then I get to share my idea with a friend, get some good feedback, and then make any changes to my plan that I need to make. Then I'm going to take a look and share this with Miss Dusick, share my final plan with her. And then Miss Dusick is going to give me a piece of styrofoam here. This is my final printing plate. So instead of just drawing my image backwards on my printing plate and possibly messing up and then having to get a new plate, because these plates can get expensive if we use all of them, we're going to actually be drawing backwards on a piece of paper that is cut to the same size, and we'll be drawing from there. So I'll go over to the printing station and I'll go get from the yellow bucket my scratch paper right there. So I've already gotten it. I bring it back to my table, to the yellow table here, and I'm going to draw my image backwards. So if everything is forward here, I'm going to draw it backwards here. So this one, I'm going to start over here. I see that my lavender, and I want to be able to take my time, draw it big, but I'm going to go ahead and draw it backwards on here first. Alright, so I've drawn my image backwards. Now you're going to pause the video and you are going to go ahead and draw your image backwards on your piece of paper. Fill up the space nice and big. Once I have my image drawn backwards, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my printing plate and I'm going to put it underneath my drawing. And I can take, if I need to, I can take a piece of tape so I make sure that it doesn't move around. So I'm going to grab a piece of tape here from the printing station, and I'm going to go ahead and just tape this right over top to my plate on the back so that it doesn't move around at all when I'm trying to draw it. Then from my printing station over here, from the yellow bucket, there we go, I'm going to grab one of the pens from the station. With my pen here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing just like I did when I made my initials. I'm going to be printing in, but I'm going to go over, since my image is already backwards, I'm just going to be drawing over this paper what I see here, but I'm going to be pressing in while I do it. So I'm going to press in while I do this, and I want to make sure, and I might even go through the paper a little bit so that I get a nice print, or so that I get a nice over top here. And if I find that I'm going off the plate, I'll just kind of have to feel where I am on the plate. And I'm going to draw over the lines that I made here. When I'm drawing backwards, I want to be sure that I'm being careful about going, or when I'm doing all these lines and carving this in, I want to make sure that I can I'll be able to feel the styrofoam go in a little bit, like I can feel if I'm carving into it or not, or whether I'm just drawing on top. The other thing I want to be aware of is I want to be aware of things that are going on top or not. So see, this leaf here goes behind this flower, so I want to make sure that I stop where it goes behind the flower. Otherwise I'm going to have to start all over again, or I'm going to have to make my oops into a different thing. So you want to make sure that you're stopping and you're not drawing lines you don't want people to see. If there's parts in my drawing that I'm doing that I want to look like with this lavender, I kind of want the ink, when I go to ink it, I want this part to be the white part. So if there's parts like whole shapes that I want to be white, then I would go over and I would color the whole shape in to press it down to carve it in. So once I've kind of gone through and got the outline of it, if I decide I want something to be completely white, a shape, or have a texture in it, then I need to go through and I would go ahead and color it in by pressing down to carve the rest of that part in. Alright, so now you're going to go ahead and pause the video and you are going to be indenting into your plate. And when you're done, it's gonna kind of look like this, to where this paper's kind of beat up, but you'll get these nice indents into your plate and it'll start to really look like that. Now that you're done tracing your plate here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead, take this piece of paper off by taking the tape off here. And your tape, you're just gonna go ahead, or your piece that is kind of beat up here, this is good things to remember here for when you're doing that. So you're just gonna kind of tape it into your sketchbook here, okay? That way you can still get to all these different things. And now that you have indented your plate, you're just gonna kind of go back through. You can do this part with a pencil since you've already kind of pressed down, but any parts that don't look like they're very pressed down very much, you can go through with your pencil and just kind of push them in a little bit more, or with your pen you can go do that. Or you might want to put your paper back over and just kind of fix some of those lines, but you want to be able to feel the indents. That's the end of this video. You'll want to be able to ink your image now. You're going to want to go down to the next printing video in the Google Classroom. Happy creating!